All right, welcome back. This is part 3 of the layers tutorial. I know this is a little bit of a longer tutorial. There's just so much stuff with layers and all the options that we can use that will help us later on. So it does take a little bit of time going through this. So the next part that we're going to do on this is going to be inserting the road because we need the road and the actual land to be able to put some trees, the elephant, and a bird in. So I'm done with this signs tab. So I'm going to actually close out of the signs tab. I'm going to hit the X button to close out. Say no. And I'm going to go and open, and I think it's called Mountain Road is what we're going to work on. So I'm going to hit Mountain Road. I'm going to hit open, and there's my Mountain Road. Now, I talked about before, we can grab whole images and drop them in, which is exactly what we're going to do here. So I'm going to take this, I'm going to grab the background layer, and I'm going to drag it up to my arch, and I'm going to drop it in. Now, again, notice layers. The top layer is your dominant layer, meaning that it's sitting on top of the other pieces of paper. So you can see this is a whole image. I cannot see through this. So I can't see any of the stuff that I've done before. Now, if I turn the eyeball off, there everything is. But I can't work on this layer like this because I can't see it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually click on this and I'm going to drop it all the way down underneath the arch. So this is my arch. Now you can kind of see that I'm a little bit off center here. But again, because I'm selected on this layer, I can use my move option or my arrow option. And I'm going to slide this road. I'm just using my left arrow. Slide this road kind of toward the center. So there we go. I think it looks pretty good. We're in the center. It looks like the archway is in the middle of the road. We have this whole picture in, and it doesn't matter if it's the whole thing because I'm not going to be able to see behind it. Don't concentrate on trying to cut this out. You don't need to because this top layer of this arch is going to block it. So the next thing we're going to do, let's do the actual tree first. So I'm going to close out this mountain road. I don't need it anymore. And I'm going to go up to File, Open, and I'm going to select this tree layer, and I'm going to hit Open. Now, with this tree layer, we talked about selection tools, and we think about what selection tools that we'd actually use for this. And it would be a pain to try to use the quick selection tool to try to get all these leaves in. But luckily for us, this picture, or luckily for you, I should say, this picture is the background is completely white. Now, if I try to click and drag this in, and I'll do it as an example, you don't have to do this. Notice it brings the white image in here. I just want the tree. So I'm going to do Control-Alt-Z is my undo button. I'm going to go back to my tree. And remember, your magic wand tool, if you have a object that has a background all one solid color, or say I wanted to select all these oranges and I knew all these oranges were perfectly the same orange, I can use this magic wand tool, and I'm going to say that I want to select everything that's white on it. But again, remember that if you look at your marching ants, I want to save the tree. I want to make the tree the actual copy of it. So I'm going to go select, and I'm going to say inverse. So now my tree is selected. And you notice there is some white gaps in here. And if you really want to be picky, you can go in and select all these ones. It's just sometimes very difficult to do because they are very small. And if you end up hitting the green one, the green leaf, it would select the whole rest of the tree again, and you'd have to redo it. So for right now, I'm not concentrating on the white. You won't see it a whole lot in the image anyways. So what we're going to do with this now is same thing we've done before. When we have it selected, I'm going to go up to Layer, New, Layer via Copy. And now I have the tree on a single layer. There's no background. Remember, the checkerboard means there's no background to it. And now I can drop and bring this in. Now again, where did it go? I don't see it anywhere on here. Well, if I look at my layers and the order of my layers, notice that layer 5 is underneath this arch. So it's being covered up by it. If I hit this eyeball, yeah, I can see it here now, but it doesn't help me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually drop. I'm going to drop this layer down, and there's my tree, and I can move it into place. Whoop. And remember, make sure you have the correct layer selected. So I'm going to move this into place. And I'm going to move it over. And it looks like, again, the tree is in front of this. I'm going to put this behind the actual archway. So I will go back and I will reflip the images now. So now it looks like I can see the actual tree is sticking out of the archway, and the rest of the tree is covering up. And again, if you notice those little specks right there, it doesn't make a difference because it's hard to see anyways. It kind of blends in with the sky and the mountain with the snow back there. So that's going to be the tree. We're going to do the same thing with the elephant and the eagle. So I'm going to go up here. I'm going to select no. I'm going to go up to File Open, and I'm going to select the elephant. So here's my elephant. Now, again, you're going to have to use what selection tool you think, and I'm going to use the quick selection tool I think is best for this right now, just for ease-wise. So quick selection tool, I'm going to lower my brush down just a little bit. Remember, your options on your menu bar are up here. And the smaller the point, the finer the detail I can get in it. And you notice that in my elephant, on the back by the tail, I went a little bit quick and I selected more than I needed to. Again, I can go and use my subtraction tool to subtract it, but as a designer, if I know that's going to be covered up by an object, or if I know that's a tricky part of the elephant that it's going to be very, very hard to become clear, I can hide it behind something, which is exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use my plus tool. I'm going to select the rest of my elephant. There's my legs, elephant legs there. Looks like I got, missed his leg. Looks like I got everything. So again, repeating the process: layer, new, layer via copy, and there's my elephant. And I'm going to drag this in and plop them there. So there's my elephant there. I might need to change the scale of it a little bit. We'll find out here. So if I go layer 6, which is my layer, and I move this, if I move it a little bit down, it looks like it's kind of the correct proportion for the actual tree and an elephant. I know elephant are large animals, so I think that looks pretty good with proportion wise. So it kind of looks like the elephant is walking across to grab the oranges off the tree. So we're going to do the same thing with the eagle. And with the eagle, I'm going to close out of the elephant. I'm done with that. Same thing with the eagle. I'm going to actually stop this and let you do this on your own. But when I open up the eagle, this blue background is all one solid color. So I can actually use your magic wand tool, and I can use the magic wand tool, do the inverse of it, create a new copy layer, and then drag that layer in. So you're going to go ahead and do this, and we'll continue part 4 after you get the eagle in. We're going to do a little bit modification to layers and how to use clipping masks next.